It is incredible to see how much snow we've got across North America this year compared to last year. It's much further to the south. This is what we're looking like right now. This is last year. Now, first glance, maybe not a lot different, but I do want you to notice, look at all of the lakes and the open water here across Canada. This was last year, this year. And look how much further the snowpack is here into the northern plains, all the way down into parts of northern Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Again, last year, and watch all the lakes in Canada this year. And that tells you it is much colder here. We've got a deeper snowpack. Not everywhere. I know the snow might be a little bit thin in parts of Manitoba, maybe even Saskatchewan, but there's a lot of snow. And as that cold air moves south over the next couple of days, it's not going to modify. And that's why we could see temperatures 35, maybe even 40 degrees below average across parts of the Ohio Valley heading into this weekend. Absolutely frigid cold, January cold, even cold for January standards as we get this early season snowpack building. The question is, how will this impact the rest of winter? All right, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Clearly, the more snow you have, the colder that the air stays. It doesn't modify as much as it moves to the south. You get the albedo effect. You actually get the cold air starting to build across areas where the snowpack is. So that pushes your cold air further to the south. Is it strong enough to change our storm track as we head into January? It might be. In the short term, though, we are going to warm up, though, I think, heading into next week with more of a zonal flow. But the cold is building, my friends, and signs are pointing that it may drop back to the south. The WPO is kind of negative, and it floats back towards positive toward the end of the month. But some of the longer range signals say we could turn cold again in January. And again, I think you watch how this cold interacts with all this snow on the ground that we showed you. Yeah, it could be a wild ride ahead. Here's a look at your temperature departures as we head into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This is going to be the strongest push of cold. Temperatures across parts of South Dakota, down into Illinois, even Chicago, near 30 degrees below average, pushing 35, close to 40 degrees below average as you wake up on Sunday morning. That's bone-chilling cold, and this is sliding east, too. After temperatures get kind of close to normal, we do cool down behind this first clipper system that's going to bring some decent snow, maybe even blizzard conditions into the mountains of West Virginia. We're going to look at that too. It's pretty interesting to see those blizzard warnings out tonight from the National Weather Service. But look how chilly it stays here. And here comes your next blast of cold. Look how Lake Michigan is saving you, my friends, in Michigan. We're talking about temperatures modifying by a good 10 to 15 degrees as that wind crosses the lake. And where it goes underneath it, look, it doesn't get modified whatsoever. Now we're talking about that cold taking aim right into southern Ohio, into West Virginia, and then into the nation's capital. By this point, there's not as much snow on the ground. We're crossing open air, but still, it's cold, and it's going to be below average into the southeast. All right, let's talk about the snow that we're expecting in the next 24 to 72 hours even. Multiple winter storm warnings now flying with the snow that's going to be falling as we head into North Dakota, Minnesota, not including Minneapolis, just winter weather advisories here. Those warnings extend, though, from Fargo north of that. Not as much snow up towards the Arrowhead. This heavy band's going to move down towards Minneapolis. It's going to be just, again, north of Minneapolis, and then it's going to head towards Green Bay, but lighten up as it does so with a swath of snow moving across central Michigan tonight, including Grand Rapids. Some snow also falling as far south as Madison, and even here into parts of southern Minnesota, down into parts of Iowa, a little bit of snow and really windy too. Check this out, guys. We've got winter weather advisories in and around the lakes. Winter storm warnings now downwind of Lake Ontario. Winter storm watches just to the east of Rochester. And then let me show you what's happening here in the mountains of western Maryland. Winter storm warnings. No. We're talking about blizzard warnings here. The snow, maybe not as impressive. We're talking about from the PA line. It's going to be windy in Pennsylvania too, but we could have blizzard conditions with blowing snow, whiteout conditions. 4 to 8 inches looking likely here in the mountains of West Virginia, down into, say, Pocahontas County, Greenbrier County, get north here. Where are we? We're just to the east of Elkins here, up into the highest ridges along the Virginia-West Virginia border. So some pretty heavy snow, not quite down to Virginia here, but very interesting to see blizzard warnings as we head into the next 48 hours. As this clipper system pulls to the north and east, it's going to take the snow with it, and we're going to dive into these numbers in just a second. Then look at the cold that comes behind it. That's when you're really going to get the wind going here into West Virginia, into the mountains and downwind of the lakes with that lake effect snow. And we're already tracking the next system that's diving in from the northwest. This thing's moving pretty fast. It looks a little heavier with the snow today, across parts of southern Ohio, maybe West Virginia, with another round of snow for you. Boy, the Mountain State has been hammered with snow, just not a lot, but just over and over and over again. And then we do it again. Okay, this is the system that I'm watching for the Northeast as we head into the weekend. This afternoon's European run. Again, remember, we got a lot of Arctic air in place now at this point. Is taking this energy toward the coast, and it's trying to develop low pressure. Today, it's a little bit further to the south, and that would put a little bit of snow here into New York City. Again, I'm not sold on it just yet. Let's keep watching this, and then after this, we start to get a little more active across the Pacific Northwest after a bit of a break. A lot of snow and wind and rain to start the week, and then by Thursday and Friday, things back down some, and then more heavy rain and snow moving into British Columbia. Some of that snow tries to work east of the mountains. Not a lot, though. Most of that moisture gets wrung out. And then across the southwest, it stays warm and mild. The only change that I can see, I mean, look, if you're watching in this area, okay, maybe a little bit of moisture into Texas, possibly the end of next week, and even that's really iffy. I think this cold is going to have a real impact in the snow on the weather pattern across the lower 48. Here's the snow looking closer, and we're going to look at the totals too. A lot of wind behind our system as that snow wraps up across North and South Dakota. Another band of mixed precipitation moving in through Montana. Could be some sleet and freezing rain, changing to rain as that warm air moves to the north. And then once this goes by, our temperatures crash back down and it turns windy and we turn back to snow. Further to the east, here comes your heavier band of snow as we move through the evening hours. It's already snowing across a good part of Minnesota. That will be wrapping up as we head into the early morning hours, and then we'll be dealing with a few lingering snow showers and flurries heading through Wednesday, but it'll be breezy and cold. And again, we're looking west to the next system that's already moving this way. Look at these winds overnight, gusting to 50 across parts of Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota. Very, very breezy across this part of the country. And then as we head into tomorrow, the winds do back down some, but it's still going to be pretty brisk out there with a decent northerly wind at times in northwest. Further to the east, a little bit of rain moving through Chicago tonight, even right along the Minnesota, Indiana border. Mostly rain here. You got to get a little bit further north into Michigan before you get the snow, and it could be a little heavy at times as these bands set up. And as this low kind of gets cranking a little bit of forcing going on here across southern Ontario, so we could dump a decent amount of snow, I think, into the early morning hours. And now we're going to bring this to the east, okay? So now we're putting snow into the Poconos, into parts of New York. Not New York City, but hey, we may see rain change to snow for places like Albany, Western Mass, up into Vermont and New Hampshire. And now we're putting the snow into the mountains of West Virginia. Lake effect starts to kick in as northwest winds go, and we wring that snow out here right along the spine of the mountains. Notice how we get the upslope flow, and as you get that downsloping flow, not a lot of moisture making it on the east side of the mountains as we squeeze that lake-enhanced moisture out. All right, here's a look at the winds. Again, remember all that snow I just showed you. On top of that, we're going to have winds that are going to be gusting up to 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour on top of the ridges as we head into Wednesday, also into Wednesday night into Thursday. That wind's going to stick around, and it could get really strong on these peaks, again, causing those blizzard conditions at times. Here's the snow totals for the next couple of days. Yeah, it's going to continue to snow here across the northern plains into Canada with more snow after this, and I think it's going to continue to be heavy across the Canadian Rockies. Let's go further to the east. A lot of this snow back here is already starting to fall, but overnight, again, close to 6 inches right here in the center of Michigan. Snow will probably stop right here along the Michigan border to the south of that. Not a lot of snow, but that snow, again, expanding further to the north and east along the U.S.-Canadian border. And again, it could be heavy at times. Look at the pink. We talked about that. And downwind of Lake Ontario, some heavy snow here, also into the mountains of West Virginia. And then look at this. Here comes the big snow, I think, at least into the mountains with this next clipper system. So we'll add more snow here, say from central West Virginia up into western Maryland. Some of that may try to sneak east of the mountains as this next system swings through. And again, it's trying to put a little bit of snow right near the coast. Still a long way to go before we get there. Again, this is the European from this afternoon, looking closer at the northeast. You can see not a lot at this point, so don't bet the farm just yet. Here's a look at the surface map beyond this. There's System 1 moving through. Here comes the wind and the cold conditions and the lake effect going all the way into the northeast. As low pressure moves away, it's also going to stay windy into the south. Colder, too. We do see warmer temperatures start to work back north out ahead of this system that's diving in from the northwest. bringing that second streak of snow. Some of that tries to get into the mid-Atlantic, maybe a few snow showers here. Certainly not a big system. And then headed into Saturday, right? Do we get the snow here into the Northeast? The European tries to say we will, and then after this, again, we're really far out now. We're looking a week from today. We could be in a different situation here across the Ohio Valley where we're warming up, warm enough for rain, maybe as far north. Check it out, the Canadian border. We may see mixed precipitation to rain for places like Windsor up to Toronto as some warm air moves in and then colder air behind this. Either way, guys, I think we are in a very active weather pattern. Let's look at those temperatures. We started off this video talking about the extreme cold weather that's moving in with those numbers 30 to 40 degrees below average. Okay, it's going to be cold already as we head into Thursday and Friday. This is just the warm-up show for a lot of you here into the Midwest, into the Ohio Valley. Look at this as we head now, into Friday night. You can start to see edges of it moving out of Minnesota into Wisconsin, into Iowa, and then pushing towards Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan, again, saving you guys here in the lower peninsula. We're talking about -8, -10, back behind on the on this side of the lake of Lake Michigan. Once it crosses the lake, we jump up to almost 10 above. So a big difference. The lake water's still pretty warm, a heat sink, if you will, there on Lake Michigan. Look at these temperatures. These are not wind chill temperatures. These are, or feels like temperatures. This is the actual air temperature being modeled out. That cold lasting and pushes all the way down into the central Appalachians. We could be well below zero heading into Monday morning, as far south as maybe Beckley up to Elkins. And then again, back to the Ohio Valley with snow on the ground. I could see 5 below in Indianapolis. This may not be cold enough. You got to remember, there's a lot of snow on the ground right now in these places. And if we can clear things out and get high pressure settling in at night, it could get really cold. Warmer temperatures on the way, though. We might start to melt some of that snow, but look, it's not going to be like a blowtorch where we go up to the 70s or anything over the next couple of weeks. All right. Further to the west, here comes that first system moving through into Texas, relatively dry, Oklahoma, Kansas. Not a lot of sensible weather here, right? Look, everything up to your north, just kind of missing all of you guys, even into parts of the south. Maybe a few showers across Louisiana. We've talked a lot about this snow. We've kind of spent a lot of time here, but here comes that Arctic high. It's nudging south into Texas. That's going to push your temperatures down into Dallas. It's going to get much colder heading into the weekend, but what we're not seeing is return moisture into this cold air. That keeps the winter precip away. That may change, though, as we head into January. I am really interested to see how all of this snowpack that we talked about earlier in the video this year compared to last year. I'm interested to see how that's going to impact our pattern as we head into January. And I think the European has done a pretty, I'm just going to say it, kind of a bad job when you look long range. It's caved to a colder outlook. I think it's going to kind of do that again. And then, look, I'm not going to track any storm at Christmas. Who knows? People are asking about White Christmas. Heck if I know. That's too far away, guys. We can't pinpoint a snowstorm on Christmas. But I can tell you, here comes the cold. You're going to feel it. These are wind chill values. These are not the air temperatures, but I do want to show you how cold it's going to feel like near 30 below as we head into Saturday. And with that wind going close to 30 to 35 below, I would even say very close to 40 if you can get a gust here going. So it's going to be very chilly. And again, here's your temperatures, the actual air temperatures. I want to show you the south as we move into the weekend, even down to Oklahoma, down to the Red River, that cold pushing into North Texas, with temperature dropping back into the 30s. Highs rebound some, though, across Texas and Oklahoma as we head into Monday as that southwest flow starts to pick back up and we start to turn a little more zonal. You can see that warm air trying to erode the cold from southwest to northeast, but again, up here where the snow is, I don't think it's going to warm up a whole lot. Maybe a little bit, but yeah. More snow, though, again, into the Canadian Rockies, into the mountains here of western British Columbia. Rain in Vancouver. You got to get up pretty high before you get the snow. Even down here into Washington and Oregon, there's been quite a bit of precipitation here this year, but boy, are we dry in the Sierra. So dry across the Four Corners states. I mean, unfortunately, again, I don't see any relief to the dry conditions. Look at the snow. Snowless Sierra. Again, this is where we were last year. At least there was some snow down here. We started to pick more snow up as we headed into December. And again, this is taking you through Christmas of last year. We had some snow across the west. And this is, again, as we look through this year, just very little snow out here, especially compared to years past. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like a lot is on the way. It might change. Let's hope it does, right? Maybe by the 16th and 17th. A couple of the runs of the European has been trying to put some moisture into California, but it really backed off on that idea today. It's got some, but nothing like what we were maybe seeing yesterday. Temperatures across the west underneath this big ridge. I mean, look at this. Boise, close to 60. Okay, so huge extremes. Calgary setting up here at 10 below. Hop across the ridges and you're at 60 down here at Boise. Huge difference as that Arctic air mass plows south on the east side of the mountains. All right, if you made it this far, hope you'll consider subscribing. Appreciate you watching, guys, all the OGs. If you've been here for a while, thanks for coming back. See you next time. Stay safe, and I will see you on the next one.